look at that view. That's awful. Welcome to your dagger, your home on the rails in this post-apocalyptic. First time on the train and not sure how to get stuff? Fear not, I'm going to show you everything you need to know on how to get stuff. Side, this roof, it's scary. Have a look. Almost everything on the train is breakable. See this random wall? Breakable. See this chair? Breakable. And with that comes little bits of resources. Hit some things. Break that. Break this. And this. But if you don't want to destroy the train that literally sustains your life, go for the resources. These are resource dispensers. And these are train information boards. Train information boards give you information on when resources will become available. You see that resource dispenser counting down to almost zero? When the resource dispenser timer counts down to zero, the resource dispensers spit out the resources. Shocking, I know. When the resource platform timer is about to reach zero, these giant doors open up in the floor, and you can stand a few meters above the rails and gather large amounts of resources. There are other train carriages that are designed for resources themselves. The junkyard, the foundry. Have a look around. There are plenty of spots. If you want to dwell a little bit deeper, you can go to the gas tunnels where the creepy live, and you can find batches of resources there. Terrifying? Absolutely. Lots of resources? You betcha. Heck, if you want safety, get a gas mask, climb up to the roof, and farm resources there like a rock star. If you aren't a fan of manual labor, acquire some currency, go to one of the many shopping districts on the train, and you can buy schematics, completed weapons, and a bunch of other things. Either way, there are plenty of places to get a bunch of resources, but make sure that you take those resources and put them somewhere safe, like in your base, which I'll explain how to do in the next video. Hello, fellow free railer. I see you've got a bunch of resources from the previous tutorial video, and you need a safe place to put them. Well, fear not. When you board the train, you get something called a mini base. It's a literal mini base. If you were to select it in your hotbar, you can slap it down pretty much everywhere. And inside this base, you get your basic necessities. Your bedroll, a basic crafting machine, and even a base core. Base cores are incredibly useful to store your schematics, upkeep your base, and more importantly, mark your territory so that nobody can close you inside your own base. The mini base is incredibly small, so I'd highly recommend you take out your building hammer, which you also spawn with, right click and select dismantle, and maybe take down a few walls, add a few walls, make yourself some space, get comfortable. You are going to be here for a long time. Alternatively, if you don't like the mini base, you can just build your own base from scratch. Find an appropriate area, take out your building hammer, and put down some foundations, some walls, some windows, some doors. There you go. Completely safe. What you want to remember is when you spawn on the train for the first time, you will not have any bedrolls. And if you die without a bedroll, you are dead. So when you put down a mini base, or when you build your own base, make sure you put down a bedroll so that you have a place to spawn. If all your bedrolls are destroyed and you die, you're off the train. Once you have a place of safety, be sure to This is It has various crafting machines where you can make stuff. It has a tutorial machine with videos that teach you how to play the game, and frankly, the guy's voice is beautiful. Oh good, you're awake again. It has huge amounts of dagger and personal player progression unlocks, and it even has this thing. Look at this. This is my trailer. I can build anything I want in this giant space. One day, other daggers will pull up beside me and try to board me and take my things. so I plan on building this big, with lots of auto turrets and booby traps. But that is for another time. Let's go back to the front of our dagger. This is command central. If I want to board a Titan train, I simply go over to the map table, I look for an available Titan train, I click board, and then I go over to the ladder, where I can either add teammates or I can board the train. Once I board, I go to the Titan train, I hop on board, and I have my session. Now, whether I immediately die on the train or have a successful run and leave the train with pockets full of loot, it makes no difference. I always end up back at my dagger. Home sweet home, where I can store my loot, unlock a whole bunch of new upgrades and perks for my character. When you're ready for another run, go back to the map table, select the Titan, and go get some more things. Remember, stealing and murder is fun. Greetings, Free Railer. So, you want to build cool stuff, like this thing. In that case, you are going to need a schematic. What is a schematic? Well, typically in other survival games, if you want to make the cool thing, you need a blueprint. Once you study the blueprint, the cool thing becomes unlocked. But then to craft the cool thing, you need a bunch of resources and 1 or 2 components. Get all of those things together and presto, you can craft a cool thing. But in our game, we flip it on its head. If you want the cool thing, you consume a schematic, use a little bit of resources, and then you get the cool thing, which is like a consumable blueprint. Scattered around the train is something called data. You find them all over the show, in boxes, in trash bags, in this dude's pocket. Once you gather a bunch of data, you take it to the shopping district and you stuff it into this machine and generate yourselves some schematics. Ooh, that's quite useful. We take those schematics back to base, and we use it to print a weapon. These little bit of resources, the schematic, and presto, a pew-pew. Schematics can be found all over the train, purchased, or made inside the shop, or even inside your dagger. But, gorgeous narrator voice, I hear you say, what happens if someone steals my schematics? Fear not, little free railer. If you take those schematics to your base core, stuff them inside the schematics section, and ta-da! It's completely safe. 100% unstealable. If someone breaks into your base, destroys your base core, it doesn't matter. They won't get it. Why? Because your schematics upload all the way to your dagger. All you have to do is craft a base core, and you'll have access to all your schematics. Let me go to the other side of the train, put down a random base core, and look at that. My schematics are safely tucked away. So if I want to craft a weapon now, all I need is the resources. The schematic is already in my base core, I don't even need to hold it in my inventory. Craft the weapon, and you can see the schematic was removed from my base core. And look at that. I just crafted myself a gun. Over Wi-Fi, over space Wi-Fi, over sci-fi Wi-Fi. These schematics never expire, so gather as much as you can, always stuff it in your base core, and your base core will be sure to upload it to your dagger when no one can touch it. Except your greedy teammates. look at that view. That's awful. Welcome to the train. Don't worry, I know it looks complicated, but I'm here to explain everything.